Bants or bullying, bants or bullying. We're playing a game called Bants or bullying, bants or bullying, bants or bullying. It's rarely bants, it's usually bullying.
There we go. Yes. Thank you. Hello, Bin. You haven't missed much. I've been trying to set up my my thing so that it actually works. There we go. Good. Okay. We're going to get somewhere. Let me just make sure that my volume is right. My volume is right. Whew. I've spent a surprising amount of time trying to make OBS work. Anyway, right, let me just shut that down. What I am doing this afternoon, just for a laugh more than anything else, and to just take a break from being stuck on the damn wiki, is I am taking a look at Rune, which is a solo RPG from Spencer Campbell of Gila RPGs. I've been following it on Kickstarter. I backed it the other day. The principle of it is that it is a kind of solo RPG that draws on Souls-like aesthetics. You play an engraved, you visit a realm which you wander around in, encountering things, and your aim usually is to track down a Rune Lord and murder them and take their magical rune. The plan is that there'll be loads of these little realms. You can play them in your lunchtime or a more extended one. I have not really looked at the actual realm, at the adventure, because I wanted some surprises. And I'm quite interested in it, if I'm entirely honest. I've got... it looks like the kind of thing that would be really easy and possibly even fun to try and write for. It's like a little bit like a choose your own adventure, but more free form. It reminded me of the kind of solo games you used to get back in ancient days, like Barbarian Prince. I don't know if anybody remembers that one. Liam will remember that one, if he's in the chat anywhere, because he is a nerd's nerd. And it's pretty straightforward. It's pretty rules light, with the idea being that the individual realms will provide you with additional rules to play with. This here, thank you, Roll20. I've set it all up in Roll20. Can you play a Morrican? I could almost certainly, given there's no real character creation, I could have replaced my traditional happy orc token with some sort of long-nosed tapir in heavy armor. What makes up your character is you have starting gear. I've started with a one-handed big axe because tusks, and a shield because I always default to shield. And you can have a utility as well. And I've picked a set of boots that will give me the ability to move in combat if I roll badly. And there's like half a dozen in total of starting gear in the quick starter. I'm eschewing the long sword because axes for pros probably. And there's a spell and a stupid hat, which lets you do more damage in combat, but makes you take more damage in combat. And I am way too smart. Good shoes. Or with great axe, have I considered writing for Wizards of the Coast? No, because I have too much. I'm not big. Anyway, I'm not a big fan of 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. Have I ever mentioned? I don't know if I've ever mentioned that to anybody. Anyway, yes. So I spent a happy bit of time while doing other work earlier in the week, setting up a whole integrated Roll20 so that I can play through the starting realm with tokens, and I've got dice and everything. So I'm going to do that now. I've shut down the sidebar, but actually, the other thing that happened that's been really cool, if you're a massive nerd, is I've discovered that I can upload PDFs to Roll20 now, which is quite exciting. And a game changer, and almost certainly devouring my storage capacity. So, the Grim Coast. You pick the rules up as we go along. I don't think, Ben, I do not think Wizards of the Coast would like the kind of thing that I would write for 5th edition. But I did do some very mild stuff. I've been doing a little bit of role-playing writing with John Haynes, actually. We have an Empire-themed Troika book coming out at some point after E4. And I quite enjoyed writing a bunch of stuff for Black Hack that I might put up somewhere sometime on Itch or something like that. Anyway, one of the core ideas is to give a sense of urgency and to make your actions matter. There is a realm clock. I spent more time than is absolutely necessary building a realm clock that I can automatically advance by clicking a switch. And as it fills up, stuff happens. On the Grim Coast, when it's filled up 3-4 times, you switch the time from day to night. And that changes what things are available for you to do at the various points on the map. So what do we know about the Grim Coast? Choose any 2 starter weapons. If you like, you can take a starter utility. I have done all that. I have 10 health on my character, as indicated by the little red bar across the top. I've got a stamina pool of 2 dice, which I plan to roll. I'll show you how combat works. It's quite cool, actually. I have a vague plan. I think it would make quite a cool mechanic for a pretty rules-light tabletop role-playing game, actually. As in Dark Souls, death is not the end. This is not your final fighting fantasy book. When you die, you go back to the starting point. You respawn at the sigil, which I understand in Souls-like parlance might be a bonfire or a campfire or something. And in this particular scenario, you roll a dice to see what terrible curse you are going to be labouring under. And that is more or less it. I'm just going to shut that down and start my exploration of the Grim Coast. I should probably do a funny voice for this, but actually I'm not sure I can face that. Icy wind blows against your grave-marked skin. A heavy weight hangs in the air of the Grim Coast. Atop a hill in the distance, a singular keep stands above a desolate land. Carving the sigil into the ground, you prepare yourself. It is a time of swords. It is a time of sorcery. It's a time of actually axes and shields, but whatever. So let's look at Area 1. Seamless transition. Area 1 is a sigil carved into the very soul of this realm, connecting you with it. This is a place of rest, recovery, and rebirth. Whether day or night, I can take the rest action here, recover all of my health, and unmark all the fights in the realm. What that means will become apparent shortly. There's no limit to the number of times you may rest. And from Sigil, I can travel to a quiet village along the coast, eerily still, or an ominous forest looming in the north. And this is where you at home come in. First person to yell village or forest will determine which way I go. I think that is the village along the coast, and that is the village to the north. And yes, you're quite right, forest, obviously. Let's go and see what is in the forest. Area 3. A gnarled... I almost forgot. I need to mark my realm clock 1 segment to indicate that I have moved to the gnarled tree. Let's have a look and see what the gnarled tree says. Gnarled tree. Among a grove of vibrant life, a lone tree sits, twisted, writhing, alive and dead. So, undead tree. It's daytime because I haven't done a huge amount. I think we're going to end up in the forest after this, Bing, because I don't see anywhere else to go. So during the day, there are 3 things I can do here. I can have a fight. I can do some searching. If it was night time, I wouldn't be able to do the top actions. I'd only be able to do the bottom action, which is... I'm not going to read it because it would spoil the fun. So, if there's a fight in a location, you have to do the fight before you can do any of the other stuff. Screw it, why not? I am going to start off by having a fight. It's not as if I can die permanently. Actually, I'm looking at this. This contains 3 zealots and something called a writher, and I have no idea what they are. Eric from the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon in the 80s is telling me that I should run away instead of fighting these people. Any advice? Do I fight? I'm outnumbered 4-1, and one of the four has got tentacles. Thank you, Electrochemistry. John says I should fight. He's probably right. This is meant to be a playtest. I want to get a feel for it. I have a couple of crazy ideas for realms of my own already, which is one of the reasons I'm doing this. Like maybe turning Cluedo into a delve. So I've made a little note. This isn't the best way for me to lay this stuff out, actually. I might be better off using the PDF, but you can't mark the PDF is the problem. So I'm going to do the fight. I'm going to fight. So I'm going to need zealots and a writher. I have helpfully, to cut down on clutter, set up a little area I'm calling sideboard. Let's see, zealot. Copy both of those across. So I've got the zealot character card and the writher. I'm going to need 3 actual zealots. What do we fancy? Yeah, they'll do. And I've got myself a little tentacle thing. I haven't read any of what they do. I just mostly looked at the names and then grabbed some tokens out of my token bag. So let's have a look. So we have according to this, we have a zealot at A1. And the zealots have got 3 health. So if I use... So I can set that up. At A1, what was it? A1, A4, D4. And we have a writher at B3. That will be the evil tree, and I start at D1. Somehow I am the northern side. And there doesn't seem to be any special terrain, which is one of the features we can have. Terrain, none. 3 zealots, A1, A4, D4, and a writher at B3. And I, the engraved, start at D1. Right. Combat. I'm going to pull up the rules here so that I do it properly. And you can join in at home. Combat. Okay. Going to 0, you die. You can only move orthogonally. Apart from that, everything is pretty straightforward. So first, we determine the enemy actions. Each enemy's got an action set, which it basically tells me what they will do on their round of combat. So I'm going to roll for the zealots, going from top left to bottom right. And we get a 3. A 1. Yeah, I should have thought that before. And a 2. And the writher is doing a 1 as well. Okay. So what does that mean? Let's look at the zealot. I'll make that a little bit bigger. So on a 1, 2, or 3, oh, that's helpful. They're all doing the same thing this round. Thank you, John, for suggesting you just want to see the sigil curses. I might win in this fight where I am outnumbered 4-1 and one of my opponents appears to be an evil tree. They're going to move 3 spaces. Oh, and then inflict 1 point of harm. And because they are pack monsters, they will deal extra harm for every adjacent enemy. That's not helpful. And there's a little bit of flavor text in all of these. One of the... I'm going to hit the zealot with the axe, yes. One of the things that is... One of the design aesthetics behind the game is that you don't put a lot of plot exposition into the text. You hide it on cards for items and monsters and such like to make it a bit more Dark Soulsy, as I understand it. So each one of the zealots is going to move 3 spaces towards me, and the writher is going to place a spike pod on an adjacent space. I don't think I have a graphic for a spike pod, but I'll worry about that in a second. Movement always takes place first. So this fella, who I'm just going to set their health up. I do like roll 20. It's pretty straightforward. It's going to move 3 spaces towards me, and they are going to attempt to get to the closest range to me that they can, and that they are effective at. So if they have a same and adjacent, this means the soldier will try to be in the same space as me, as that is the closest range they are effective at. So that's going to move 1, 2, and enter my space, which is really, really problematic. Because my axe only works on people who are adjacent to me. This one will move 2 spaces towards me here. And this one will move 1, 2, 3, and closes in. So that's super helpful. At the moment, I'm going to be taking 2 harm on my turn. 1 from the zealots in my space, and 1 from the zealot next door to me. And then I'm going to take an additional harm because there's an adjacent, and there's a zealot adjacent to the other zealot. Oh shit, no, I'm going to take 2 extra harm because I'm being ganged up on by 2 of these zealots. I'm going to die, just so we're aware. So, the Writher counts as permanent terrain. It doesn't move. Okay, that is a little bit less worrying than I thought it was going to be. I've got it in the wrong space, incidentally. Yeah, it's there, it's B3. So that's a little bit less worrying than I thought it was going to be. But what it is going to do is place a triggered hazard, a spike pod. 1 harm when player enters or starts on a place with a spike pod. Okay, I'm just gonna... Oh man, I really don't want to do that. I'm going to use a foot. I know there's no difficult terrain in here. Yeah, it's only me as well. So I will put spike. It is spiked out, a little spike pod. Right, so the enemy's moved. We've done the non-harm action, which in this case is popping out a little spike pod that is going to sit there and make it hard for me to get close to the thresher. So now I determine my actions. I've got a stamina of 2, which I might write in this little space here. Oh, God. There we go. I'm not free-handed. Okay, thank you for that. Roll 20. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. I roll 2 dice because I've got 2 stamina. And I get 2 5s. So that makes life pretty easy. I'm going to put 5 on my shield and 5 on my great axe. Move south, punch zealot. So I have got, from my shield, I've got a move of 1 and a block of 2. And from my axe, I've got a move of 1, harm 3, which is nice, because that's enough to kill a zealot. And cleave, which deals 1 harm to enemies adjacent to the target. So, yes, John, that is in fact what I'm going to do. I'm going to move 1 south using the 1 that I have got from my shield. But the drawback is that once I have moved, everybody does harm simultaneously. So, the 2 zealots are both going to hit me for a total of not 4 points of damage, 2 points of damage because my shield gets in the way, and then whack, obviously not two-handed whack. I'm going to smack this zealot for 3 points of damage, killing it, stone dead in a single blow, and do 1 point of damage to the fella next to it thanks to my cleave. Whew! And that is the first round of combat, and I'm still alive. I am as surprised as anyone. So I clear off the dice. I'm going to need to remember I've got boots, incidentally. I clear off the dice. And frankly, I think I want to start moving in on that evil tree, which I have to keep reminding myself is a tree, even though I have used an octopus. So let's have a quick look. I'm going to roll for the injured zealot first, see what they do. That is unhelpfully a 6. The less injured zealot is a 2 again, so they're going to come charging towards me. And the evil tentacle octopus tree is another 2. So it's going to throw down another octopus pod. Sorry, spike pod. Spike pod. Okay, so let's check out our movement. Now this zealot, aha, the zealot at the top has got a 6, so it's going to do some sort of crazy double-handed mighty blow on me. But it can only attack orthogonally because it's got same and adjacent range, which means as long as I stay out of those two spaces, the zealot isn't going to be able to hit me this turn. The other one, on the other hand, is going to move as close as it can to me and try and fuck me up with its big spear. So I don't want to still stay there. And then the spike tree will drop another spike pod into the space next to it. Obviously, there's nothing saying at the bottom where it's going to put it. I get to choose. The zealots are immune, yes. The text on spike pod, which is a little hard to read at the size it is triggered hazard, 1 harm when player enters or starts their turn on a space with a spike. Oh, right. Just 2 seconds. I'm going to just check triggered terrain. Triggered hazards. Triggered hazards are placed on the grid by characters. For example, the engraved might place a snare. Triggered hazards remain on the grid until they are activated. Good. For one horrible moment there, I thought that thing was going to be staying in forever, and I was going to have to stand up to my knees in evil thorns to fight the tree. So, they've moved up on me. The ideal place that I want to be in right now is somewhere like here. But even if I'm here, the 2 zealots aren't going to be able to hit me. So let's have a quick look and see what my options are this turn. I've got a 4 and a 3. Okay. 4 and a 3. So what are my options? If I put the 4 on the great axe, and the 3 will mean I can't do anything with the great axe. If I put the 4 on the great axe, I can move 2 and wallop something for 2 points of damage and then hit 1 harm to an enemy adjacent to the target. If I put the 3 on the great axe, it does nothing. But if I put either the 3 or the 4 on the shield, it will block 2 points of harm. So that feels like a pretty no-brainer. I'm going to put the 3 on the shield and the 4 on the great axe. That gives me a move of 2 from the axe and a block of 2 from the shield, and I will do 2 points of damage to something. Now, I could move down and wallop the tree. What I really like about it is I've watched a couple of playthroughs that Spencer Campbell's done, and there's a lot of really nice bits of kit in it, and they really change how you play. So the longsword, for example, doesn't do anywhere near as much damage as the great axe does, but it goes all the way down to a 2 on what dice you can use to trigger it. Whereas the erupting flame is really good at killing large numbers of weak opponents, but screws you up in the process. There's also rules for 2-handed weapons and the like, which is there is an additional rule which hasn't come up yet. But if you roll poorly, you can sum your dice. So if I roll a 2 and a 4, I could treat that as a 6 and activate one of my 2 pieces of kit with it. But 2-handed weapons, which are quite cool, go up to 7 and higher. So you have to sum your dice, but it reduces your options by giving you only one thing to do. Anyway, my question was, do I pop back and kill the injured zealot so that it can't bother me anymore? Or do I dash down and wallop the giant tree with its 6 health? The tentacled tree with its 6 health. John is pointing out it's got a sort of Japanese tactics style feel to it. Valkyrie Chronicles? Does it ring a bell? Hit tree with axe. Oh, okay. So we've got 2 votes for clear the mobs, 1 vote for hit the tree with the axe, 3 votes for take care of the ads. Let's take care of the ads then. What I'll do is I will move. Oh, that's a good point. If I move up to take out the zealot, I'll be hit by both of them because you do harm simultaneously. But let's see how it goes. So I'm inflicting my 2 harm on this fella, on the injured zealot, seeing him away. But both of these people, 6 and 2, no way. Actually, that is going to do me 5 points of damage. I'll block 2 of them. I'll take 3 points of damage, which will put me down to 5. But Yeah, I think so. I think I want to try and avoid taking the harm. So I'm going to take a step south. I'm going to do 2 harm to that zealot. He's going to do me 2 harm, but I'm going to block it with my shield. The other fella up here is going to flail around like a lunatic. And then we are going to reset our dice. It's risky because there is every chance. What's interesting is nothing I can see in the rules on hazards suggests that you only have one of them. So that might be problematic later. But we'll worry about that in a bit. So let's see where we go. First, I'm going to roll 2 dice. Dice on the left is for the top guy. Dice on the right is for the bottom guy. So let's see how this goes. 6 and 2. So this fella's really got the bit between his teeth. He really wants to kill me, but only if I step too close to him. So that is looking reasonably good. The fella to the south is going to, the one who's on 1 hit, is going to chase me down, but he's only going to do 1 point of harm. So I'm not overly worried about that in a minute. And the big tree is, again, doing another one of its little pods. So let's start as we mean to go on. Put a little pod down. This fella wants to move 3, so he moves into my space to give me hassle, to give me grief, and we find out what I'm going to do. So let's have a look. Oh, okay. So I have got 2 3s. So what I can do, so I'm either going to be doing block 2, because I can trigger the shield on block 3, but I can't trigger the great axe on a 3. But what I could do is use both of them together to move 1 and to do harm 3. Or actually, I could sum them up and do harm 3 is really tempting, but that's why I can't do it. My great axe only hits adjacent opponents, so I need to move, and you can't count them as lower than what they actually sum up to. So I think I'm going to have to treat it, sum it, and do it as move 1, block 2. Oh. But I'm wearing Strider boots, which is the utility I picked up. So what I can do is sum those to 6. That doesn't give me any move off my weapon, which is the criteria for my Strider boots, which give me +1 move. So I am gonna move back towards the zealot, who can't hit me because they can only attack people in adjacent spaces. And then I'm going to do 3 points of damage to this guy and absolutely malky him. I'm going to take a point of damage in the process, but I'm prepared to suffer that. It's early days, and I can always pop back to the sigil and heal myself up. Time is on my side. The worst that's going to happen is a sun will set, and I'm confident that that will not mean anything bad. So where are we? We are clearing dice off again. And we are back to the top. So the zealot at the top is doing a 4, and the evil tree is doing a 2. Okay, so what is a 4? He's going to move 1 and do 1 point of harm. I am not worried about that. Let's see what my options are for this turn. Oh, 4 and 4. Okay. Okay. And there we are. 4 and 4. So both of them are 4s. So I've got move 2, harm 2 and cleave, and block 2. So that seems pretty straightforward. I will move 1 across. Wait a second. I forgot to move the zealot. Yeah, I think it wants to protect its evil tree master. So I'll move it down to there. It can't get into my space because it's only got a move of 1. I will wind up the great axe and wallop it for 2 points of damage. I will take 1 point of damage from the zealot, which I'll block on my shield, which gives me block 2. And that is no more Mr. Zealots. Yeah, this is going well. Oh, and now the evil tree is surrounded by evil footprints. But I'm not worried about that. That's fine. It's now just me and the tree. And how dangerous can the tree be? The tree can be quite dangerous, actually, but that's neither here nor there. Let's see what the tree is doing. Okay. Thanks, tree. The tree is going to do 2 harm. If I move on to... We dealt with the zealots, Mike. We haven't dealt with the evil tree. I don't have a tinderbox, unfortunately, Liam. Okay. So the evil tree is now going to do 2 points of harm. Having surrounded itself rather nicely with tentacle spike pods, it's doing 2 harm. So let's see what my options are this word. Double 4 again. Thank you, Roll20. Your random algorithm is working overtime. Okay, so that gives me move 2, harm 2, block 2. And cleave is much less useful when you're only fighting one tree. I don't have a fireball bin. In fact, the fireball is down here. I haven't brought it with me. I'm just going to cut the zealot because we don't care about them anymore. Right, okay. How's this? Shy bears get no sweeties, so I'm going to move to there. I am going to trigger the hazard so that I take 1 point of damage. Oh, it'd be a right pain to die now after having just killed all those zealots, but whatever. I'm going to be taking 2 points of damage from the tree, which is attacking me with its tentacles. Tentacles. I'm reimagining it now as a kind of wooden otiug. So I'm going to take 2 points of damage, but I've got my shield. I will block my shield, and I will do 2 harm to the tree. Sorry, my apologies. Okay, this should be pretty straightforward now, having dealt with the mobs. Yes, yeah, John. It has a very Evil Dead kind of vibe now. Actually, not too Evil Dead. The tree is going to attack me again with its evil tentacles. Obviously, it is feeling a little bit Evil Dead. And my options are 3 and 4 this time. So that gives me block 2 on the shield and move 2, harm 2 with a cleave. I'm going to stay here and I am going to beat the crap out of the evil tree, taking 2 points of damage from the tree, which I will block on my shield. Thank you, Tom. I'm glad that you think this is better than Strictly. And yes, John, I'm blocking the tree's damage on my shield. So we clear the 6. We clear my stamina dice. We roll to see what the tree is doing. The odds are it's going to put a spike pod in my space. It's going to put a spike pod in my space. I start my turn in my space and take a point of damage. Ow. From the spikes. I'll just do that now. And we'll see what options I've got. I've got 5 and a 4. So 5 on the... 4 on that. Just a second. So triggered hazards are intentionally placed on the grid by whatever. Triggered hazards remain on the grid until they're activated, most typically by a character moving into the hazard space. Triggered hazards and their specific effects are found on the respective pieces of gear. And the tree says 1 harm when player enters or starts on a place with a spike pod. So actually, it doesn't make any sense for me to block an evil tentacle spike pile with my shield. So I will nickel and dime it with my axe. Axe meet tree. Axe is currently doing 3 points of harm to the giant tree, which has only 2 health left. We have fucked the tree. Excellent. Right, okay, let's tidy away all our toys. I used to get into trouble playing D&D years ago for shouting, "We're invincible," in situations like this, but I think that is a legitimate response. We are clearly invincible. So, we've won the fight. The first thing I'm going to do, before I forget, is because every time we do an action, complete an action or move, we tick up the realm clock, and then we'll pop back and have a look and see what the fight does. We've done the fight, so I should have brought a token for this one. So we mark it. Oh man, yes, good point. That's a good point. So that fight's not going to happen again. Anything that's marked doesn't happen again. But when we die and reset at the sigil, all the fights reset. So we'll have to do them again. So I want to get the most I can out of this. So I'm going to search the area of the gnarled tree, and I'm going to claim a navigator's pack ×2. When used, the realm clock does not advance when you travel. Okay? I'm going to note 2 of those in a second. And oh man. We're here too early. So the third option here, search, requires lore 1 or more. So I'm not going to read any further on that one. Lore is again, it's playing into that conceit of a Dark Souls game. One of the common options is learn to increase your lore, and lore is used as a key to unlock access to stuff, primarily from what I've seen so far. But I currently don't know enough about the world around me to be able to claim whatever it is that the tree is protecting. So that's less than helpful. I'm just going to take a quick look and have a look and see if I have any food style stuff. Yeah, that'll do. Right, those are my navigators packs. Let's not forget we have then. If it looks like it was an undead earth elemental in a 13th age game. Bin was quite correct. Yes, we should have gone to the village first. So our options now are, we can, because there's nothing else we can do on this spot due to my lack of lore. Now I know there's no lore at the sigil, but I would be able to refresh all of my strength, health. But only at the expense of resetting this fight. So I would have to fight the zealots of the tree again if I came back. Or we could head for the village, and we'd arrive while it was daytime. So I think we follow Bin's suggestion and head across to the village. Let's just see if it gives us any additional information. The safety of Sigil is down a path. The quiet village off to the east, eerily still. I'm confident the fact it's eerily still is not a bad thing. So screw it. Let's go to there. I am kind of tempted to use one of those navigation things immediately, just so we arrive at the village while it's still daytime. I mean, we'll arrive while it's still daytime. We'll only be able to do one thing before it hits night. So, there we go. It's daytime. The sun is getting low in the east. No, you're right. Fuck it. Let's use one of the navigation packs, which I imagine is one of those maps in a plastic bag with a compass thing like you get for orienteering, or in my case, like you see during orienteering episodes of Grange Hill. So there we go. We have gone to the village, which is point 2. And we've arrived. We can take 2 actions before sunset. It's going to be fine. You're absolutely right, actually. Mike is pointing out that if you save this stuff, you invariably forget you've got it, and you end up defeating the super dragon, or what was his name in Baldur's Gate? The Baal spawn, with an entire backpack full of very valuable healing potions that you never lose. So we're at the village of Tiresh, clearly abandoned, though there are some signs of recent visitors. This place is quiet as a grave. I visited a village very similar to this in Wales once while going to a Quest Caltoy event. Anyway, but we managed to get out before anybody ate us, so I'm counting that as a win. So we have 2 options here. We can search, or we can learn to increase our lore. But if we do both of these, it will be night time by the time we get back to the tree, which will mean we won't be able to search anything there. So that is something to bear in mind. I could sack off grabbing the healing vial for the minute, increase my lore to 1, and dash back to get to the evil tree while it is still daytime. Yes, yeah, okay. Yeah, Bin thinks that's a good idea, so we're going to do that. I'm going to learn about the village of Tiresh. That lets me increase my lore by 1. No remains to be found anywhere. The valuables of every home still in place, waiting for their owner's return. drag marks lead to a locked cellar door. But I don't have an option during the day to open the locked cellar door. So let's pop back here. We advance the realm clock for the fact that I have learnt some lore. Actually, screw it. I know what I'll do. What's a good colour that says lore? Yellow. Yeah, yellow says lore. So there we go. We have 1 lore. Excellent. Then, rather than... I just want to see what the travel option descriptions were for this place. The safety of the sigil is down a path. An ominous forest looms to the east. A solitary structure is on the nearby coast. And the keep of the realm is on top of the hill here. So this, number 5, this place is a castle, which is interesting. Whereas this one is a sinister structure. I imagine it's probably either a boathouse or a cable car or a ferry company or something. So we are going to put this plan into operation because I want to find out. We did all that fighting at the tree. I am now painfully aware of the fact that we are just about to use up everything we got from the tree, but I'm confident that learning will be a good move. So we're going to burn the second navigation pack before we forget what they do. We're going to peg it back through the woods without increasing the realm clock. We are going to turn to area 3 and we are going to find out what happens when we search with lore 1. I don't know why that has wandered off to the side. Let's try that again. Oh, well, having a moment. A hidden path leads from the gnarled tree to the boathouse. You may now travel between the 2 locations. Oh, okay. So I have discovered a special route. Mike says bone house. It could well be a bone house. Unfortunately, that means as I find the secret path, I fill up the realm clock. It switches to night. I reset the realm clock to 0. So we now have 4 segments worth of night. And I'm still at the place with the sinister tree. Oh. Now, delve. Night has fallen and the foul are abroad indeed, Liam. Did I ever tell you that is Lords of Midnight, isn't it? I had a copy of Lords of Midnight that you couldn't save, and so consequently never finished it. But this was back in the days when we were playing on C60s. Oh man, I played that for like 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours at a time, desperately trying to push my way through in the vague hope it was only like 7 hours to finish it, and it really wasn't. Liam says he's got it on his phone. It was Mike Stackpole, wasn't it? Lords of Midnight? C30, C60, C90, go. Yes, quite. Anyway, the 4th action you can take, it's fighting, learning and searching, is delving. Delving is basically you have an adventure. It's something else, essentially. It often involves a fight to get treasure or what have you. And here, I have the option to sacrifice 2 of my health to the gnarled tree. I'm going to regret asking this, but should I do a blood sacrifice at night, at dusk, to the... pardon me, to the twisted, sinister tree? I see you're all saying, yeah, okay, what could possibly go wrong? Why not? Yeah, I know your answer, electrochemistry, thank you, fine. We're going to sacrifice... Actually, I will just double check I've got 2 health, because remember the zealots did screw me up quite badly. I've got 5 health. Oh, I don't want to lose 32 health. Cool, so I ran down to 30% of my total health. But as we know, you can lose... the only hit point that matters is the last one. So I'm going to mark the delve, sacrifice with the axe 2 health to the gnarled tree. The tree's roots drink the spilled blood, a content sigh resonating from the trunk. A voice rings out. The boatman requires the stars to navigate the seas. Increase lore +1. Nice. Permanently reduce maximum health by 2 while you remain on the grim coast. Okay. And that was an action, so that's a good. That puts us 1 step closer to sunrise. I have permanently, however, reduced my maximum health by 2, but the good news is, it makes it look like I have more hit points because I now have 3 of 8 rather than 3 of 10. I feel like I'm going to regret having done that, because that one is not an ability. That's not something that's going to go away when I die next, and I'm going to die more often. So that was, maybe I shouldn't have listened to the people telling me to fling my hit points at the evil tentacle tree. But anyway, I've got lore 2 now, and that's a good idea. That's good. So what are we going to do? We could follow the new path that we've discovered to this boathouse, and I have to say, having fought a tree, used up 2 lots of orienteering supplies, and bled on an evil tree, and all I've really got to show for it is some information about the stars relating to a boathouse, I'm very tempted to head straight to the boathouse. As near as I can tell, along some woods and then through some hills and then skirt around some coast. So we are going to there. I'm going to advance the realm clock another point. It's still night time, basically coming up for midnight. And we are going to jump to and have a look at Area 4, the boathouse. A solitary structure along a craggy coast. A lit candle glows from the interior. A boat is chained, that's not a good word, to the shoreline. One of the things I'm liking here, incidentally, is because everything is designed to fit on 1 page of A4, the writing is very terse, and you're trying to get across. I mean, I can see what's happening here. You're trying to get across as much atmosphere and information in as few lines as possible. And it's like boxed text on an old D&D adventure. The temptation is to write hundreds of words, but all that happens is the players just lose the detail. Whereas if you can keep it nice and short like this, you can really build an atmosphere up. Fail better, do it really well with things like Fallen London, I think, in my opinion, as a professional. But the other thing that appeals to me about this is I can only write 2 lengths. I can write 100 words reasonably easily, and I can write 10,000 words reasonably easily, and I can't write any of the lengths of text that go between that. Anyway, let's have a look. During the day, during the night, delve must be night. A spectral boatman stands on the chained up boat, beckoning you closer. Okay. Yes, that lovely 10 lines of box text that doesn't mention the 50 kobolds and the dragon in the room. Do you remember back when D&D Adventures used to have a glossary at the end? Because obviously you couldn't look weird words up online. I learned so many obscure medieval furniture terms from the B series of adventures. Anyway, so we've come all this way. There is a spectral boatman, and that explains what the piece of information the tree gave us was. Because obviously, just glancing up at the top, there's no delve here during the day. So our options are, we can jump on the boat with the ghostly boatman. We can head back to the eerie village now that it's night. We could go to the massive keep at night, or we could go to an ominous fire across the channel. That is really weird, because it's acting in the delve as if you could only travel between the boathouse and the ruinous camp at night. But it lists it here as an action you can actually take. I wonder if that is an error, and if that dotted line is not supposed to be there. But either way, we are going to... The boatman needs a friend. Yes, Tom, you are absolutely correct. We are going to mark the delve and travel across the channel to Skye, possibly. So I'm going to mark that. Twice, yes. Because the delve effectively is telling me that I can move across the channel at night. So I'll arrive on the island. Yes, quite. We can make up by giving him a little bit of company. We can make up for the fact Mike called him a boneman, which is a very different thing, and I suspect a lot less friendly. But anyway, we're going to cross the channel in the boat to the island, which is location 6. Yesbin, company. He's a spectral boatman and a professional. Our relationship is going to remain purely. I will respect the boatman's boatiness, and he will respect my weird engraved undying runiness. Undying with 3 health of 8 left. Anyway, as we cross the strait between the 2 islands, the sun rises. I imagine that that's just lovely. So let's see where we arrive on the 6th time. The ruinous camp. From smell of the grave, the smell of the grave is strong in the wind, even a distance from the camp. Oh. Am I going to help steer his rudder? I'm not falling in love with a ghostly boatman. All right? I am an orc of taste and refinement. There is a sinister necromancer here, however. So, are we going to go visual novel? So we've arrived on the island during the day. No more innuendo, thank you. It's not this kind of show. Romance the necromancer. Yes, indeed. That's how you end up with hickeys. Anyway. I could investigate the camp, which is going to involve a fight, as we've arrived during the day. Or I could head along the solitary path along the coast to the eastern shoreline. It's been a little while since we've had a fight, and I think a couple of people have joined the chat who haven't seen the fighting mechanics. So let's do it. Let's have a fight. It's the English way. So there's a necromancer at B2. And interestingly, the necromancer is unique. That means if I'm on 3 health, I'm on 3 health. John, stop writing poor quality erotica in my chat, or I will ask you again to stop doing it. I think discretion might be the better part of valor. I am not fighting skeletons to try and show off to the bone man, Mike. The nice thing, Tom, is he doesn't need to raise me as a zombie so the adventure can continue. If I die, I'm going to restart at 1 with a curse, which John keeps desperately wanting me to roll for. So I think, all things considered, having observed, scouted, we're scouting the area. I don't want to come across as too thirsty, so I'm gonna give the necromancer a bit of a jock sup necromancer, and then I'm gonna peg it along the coast in the vague hope that location 7 is some kind of healing potion shop or restaurant. And stop singing the Brave Sir Robin Bravely Ran Away song, Liam. Thank you. Right, so we've moved across to 7. I've ticked 1 daytime clock. Let's find out what is waiting for us at the old potion and curative cream tea shop. Lost Night. I'm going to read no more and just say that sounds positive. Dressed in the banners of the Graven Keep, a lone knight stands vigilant. During the day, I can smell the grave on you. You defy death. I cannot allow you to take it off. For flip's sake. It's some sort of terrible, lawful, good paladin type who has decided that they cannot allow me to take another step. But they're by themselves. They're unique. So once I've killed them, they won't come back. And when defeated, they apparently drop some treasure. I've only got 3 hit points. I feel I'm very much in that situation where I might as well have a go and see what happens. Yeah, I should have stayed on the boat with the bone man. So let's have a look where I start. I start at B4 with my 3 hit points. And I need the Lost Knight out of my sideboard. Let's have a look. Okay. What will we use? Yeah, I think it's that one. So let's have a go. Okay, the Lost Knight starts at B1. And we have permanent terrain at D1 to 4. Okay, permanent terrain, blocks, movement, line of sight, everything else. I imagine that what this means, given the setup here, the two of us facing off, there's a massive cliff to the right-hand side. John, just stop writing erotica about the knife. But I do about the knight. But I do like Scott's suggestion that I axe him nicely. So let's bring this up, and let's see what the Lost Knight has to say. When the dead broke the gates, a lone knight fled the keep. 2 lives their sword would take. That does not actually fill me with confidence that the keep on the island, which is, I think if I remember right, it's number 5 was the keep, from what we saw from the village. I don't think that is going to be a very pleasant place to visit. So let's have a look and see what the knight does. The knight has a pretty harmy. When the Lost Knight has 4 or less health, they gain additional range, 2 spaces. Okay. So I'm just going to set his health. Oh, okay. He has he has the same amount of health that I have as maximum health, and I have 3 health. But we can do it. We can do it. I've got a massive axe that does 3 points of damage. And again, of course, my cleave is going to be of no use whatsoever. But no, I'm not worrying about it. Massive axe, shield, turn out your pockets. So the knight is on a 4. So the knight's got a 4. That means that the knight is going to move 2, inflict 1 harm, and in a... Yeah, it is cursing time. Yeah. Yes, the attack pattern changes. From what I've seen, from what I understand at any rate, one of the other things that's set up is that some bosses do that literal, when you get them to half hits, use a different card kind of setup. So you can have that really cool thing that 5th edition lacks, in my opinion. Boss battle that changes completely halfway through. Anyway, so he's doing me 1 point of damage and blocking 1 of my points of damage. So let's see what my options are. Oh, okay, I clicked the wrong button there, but I'm stuck with it. So that is a 2. And was that a 5? Yeah, a 2 and a 5. Okay, well, a 5's not too bad. So, let's have a look. The 2 is literally useless to me. It won't trigger either my shield or my great axe. So my options are, I could move 1 and block 1. That will get me out of the way of the knight. Alternatively, I could move 1 and do harm 3. And he's going to do me 1 harm and block 1. So I could dodge out of the way and hope for a better roll next round. Or I could stand my ground and face axe him. I think dodge roll is the way forward. Yeah, I think dodge roll. Do I dodge towards the cliff or away from... It's towards the cliff. Always dodge towards the cliff, as my teacher used to say. But they didn't like me, so there you go. Then they do 1 point of harm, but I'm not in either of the spaces adjacent to them, so I'm okay. And I do nothing. I've rolled out of the way. Okay. First round of combat. Charge, roll, excellent stuff. Interestingly, he's going to be trying to get into the same space as me a lot, so I want to keep an eye on that. 5. Okay. This round, right, okay. So this round, he's not moving. He's staying where he is with his shield and his deadly flail, and he's going to do 2 harm and block 2. I have the advantage that I'm not in either of the spaces that he can hit. And that is just as fucking well. Having rolled 2 1s, oh man, that is a weakness in this build. Even adding them together. Yes, as John says, I was watching a video with the designer, and he was talking about the fact that one of the reasons the enemies try and get into your space, but the default weapons don't let you fight things that are in your space, is that it means you constantly want to be moving around, and I really like that as a feel. So I have achieved nothing. If I add those 2 dice together, I will get a total of 2, which I can't use for either of my shield. Because I haven't got any move from my weapons this round, I gain +1 move, thanks to my magical boots. Go boots! Unfortunately, the only thing I can do is move into range of his flail. So I think this is another wash of a round. So let's start round 3 by rolling for the Lost Knight. Okay, so he is not letting a little thing like the fact that it didn't work last time stop him. And I respect that because I have spent a lot of time around Empire players. Let's see if I have learnt a valuable lesson. I want 2 good rolls here. I haven't got them. I've got a 3 and a 4. Okay, so let's have a look at my options. It's the similar one we saw during the fight with the tree. If I put the 3 into my shield, I can block the 2 points of harm that he's inflicting. But this time round, it's a little bit different. If I put the 4 into the great axe, I do 2 harm, but he's currently defending against it. So, but I've also got move 2 this round. So what do we do? I think I'm going to move past him. To dodge past with the shield. I'm not going to apologise and jump off the cliff. I'm going to run round him. I'm going to run round him in a circle. If I can get to the far side of him, I think he'll probably just die of shame. So, round 4, during which we have not done a huge amount. Okay, yeah, it was bound to happen eventually. I don't know why that's just rolled twice. So he's clicked a 6. And that means he's going to move 3 and inflict 3 harm on me. 3 harm is enough to kill me. He moves 1. And because his range is same and adjacent, he gets to the closest range at which he can attack me, which is he charges into my space. I think he's going to try and throw me off the cliff, frankly. Right. Let's hope my 2 dice go well, eh? Okay, it could have been worse. It is 2 4s. So, 4. The good news is the 4 is enough to give me some move to get out of the space. So I can move 2. I'm going to do harm 2 and I'm going to block 2. He is unfortunately going to do me 3 points of damage, but he's gone all out for the attack. So I will dodge to one side using my movement. I'll inflict 2 harm on him with my great axe. I'll block 2 of the harm that he's inflicting on me, putting me down to 2 hits, which used to be 20% of my health, but now, thanks to the excellent advice I received earlier, is a quarter of my health. But the good news is I'm going to get to do 2 points of damage to him. I think we've got this. I imagine at this point he's going to say something pithy. I don't know what that might be like. I don't know what that would be. I'm going to say, "Nice to meet you." Mind? Nice to meet you? Nice to meet you. And pretend that that's an Adam Sandler style joke. So let's see what his tactics are on this round. Okay, I'm hoping that that's positive, that's good. So he's got a 2. He's going to move 1 into my... Oh, this isn't good. This is the opposite of good. He's going to move into my space and wallop me for 2 points of damage, which is enough to kill me. So let's see what my options are this round. Okay, the dice are very much on my side. So I'm going to add them together rather than using them separately. And the good news is That gives me block 2. I don't have any movement, but I do have my strider boots. So I'm going to back up away from him. He's going to wallop me with his flail for 2 points of damage. I'm going to catch it on my shield. I forgot which hand my shield was in there for a second. With my shield and bounce it off. And we are going to continue to circle around each other for this. I think this fight has now gone on longer than the fight that had literally 4 things in it. So, the Lost Knight has a 3 this time. That means he's going to move 2 and he's harming and blocking again. God damn it! Mike says that constantly backing off and shielding is an extremely Dark Souls thing. My understanding from the H-Bomber guy is that I'm playing this wrong, apparently, because I'm using the shield too much. But anyway, so the knight closes in on me, gets right up in my grill, and I roll 2 4s again. Okay. 2 4s is straightforward. I'm going to move 2, harm 2, block 2. He's harm 1ing me, so my shield is going to block that. Because I've got the move, I'm just going to move down 1, circling round. He wallops me for 1 point of damage, I block 2. I wallop him for 2 points of damage, he only blocks 1. He is now down to 5 health. We are slowly whittling him away. Oh, Dan of Playframe Plus would disagree with the suggestion that the shield is easy mode. Hopefully, 1 harm is what he keeps on doing to me. But let's find out. Let's clear the 3. Roll a dice. Okay. He's clearly heard my cheer contingent and has shifted to harm 2, block 2. Unless I'm really lucky, I'm not going to be able to damage him this turn, but fingers crossed, I can get out of the way. The designer on this is Spencer Campbell, John, from Gila or Gila Games. It's the same designer that did Slayer and that Warframe one you quite like, Nova. The one where the world has gone dark and you play people in light-fueled power suits that collect, healths and mana stones from people. I quite like their work. I think it's really solid. I'm very much looking to trying Slayers out at some point. You've made me forget what I was doing now. I was rolling 2 dice to see what my stamina options are. Okay, could have been a lot worse. I've got a 6 to play with and a 3. So that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to be block 2ing, which counters his harm. And I'm going to put the 6 into my axe and I'm going to wallop the fuck out of him. Putting him down to 4 health and blocking the damage that he does me. When the Lost Knight has 4 or less health, they gain additional range. Okay. So what that means is he can now attack me. This is the big change. He can now attack me diagonally. Because he can attack me when I'm within 2 spaces of him, in fact, he can attack me almost everywhere. His attacks are now, I'm now not going to be able to dodge his attacks like I have been doing. I'm going to have to actually tank them and try and kill him as quickly as I possibly can. But he is down to 4 health. All I need is 2 good rounds and we've got the fucker. So he is... Okay, he's 4ing this round. He is moving into my space, inflicting 1 harm and blocking. That's not as bad as it could have been by any stretch. My stamina is... Yeah, when am I going to learn to actually click the right button? So I've got 2 and 3. The good news is I've got the block. Whatever else happens, I've got the block. Or I could suck up the harm. Wait, no, I don't think he can move away from me, John. Let me just check the rules. Let me just check the thing. I think he doesn't move to the optimal range to hit me. He moves to the closest range at which he can hit me. Let me just check that out. Enemies will always move towards the closest range that they are effective at. You can write an enemy in a different way. I've seen a couple of examples in the actual plays of things like they're back off this turn. But so he on a 4 moves into my space and does me 1 point of damage. I'm gonna sum those to do 3 points of damage with a move of 1. Move into the space next door because I have to be at adjacent range to attack with the great axe. Do him 3 damage, of which he blocks 1, putting him down to 2 hits, and he does me 1 point of damage, of which I block none. I'm feeling less confident about this than I thought I was going to. He completes his move before I do my stamina dice. I just forgot to do it, so I think that is a legit setup. So I think it's come down to sudden death, me or him. He is gonna... Okay, not too bad. He's gonna 3. He's gonna move into my space, do 1 point of harm, and do 1 point of block. Because you do damage simultaneously, incidentally... yes, thank you, Mike. Love does always win. Because you do damage simultaneously, you can both kill each other. At which point, he would be dead, and so wouldn't come back again, but so would I. Which feel... Oh... God. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, he moves first. Sorry. He moves into my space. He does me 1 harm and blocks 1. Love isn't winning at all. No, love isn't winning. But it's not as bad as it could be. Again, I sum those up to 5. I move 1 and I block 2, and that blocks his damage. Okay, we are... we might still have this. We might still have this. Okay, he's doing harm 2, block 2. Okay, I'm pretty confident I'm not going to hurt him this round. But he's not moving. But he's got range 2. So I could retreat into one of those 2 squares because he wouldn't be able to hit me there. But I can't get away from him by moving into the diagonals. So let's see what my stamina roll gives me. If I get snake eyes here, I am dead. Okay, nearly snake eyes. Annoyingly, what is he doing? He's on 5. Oh, he's doing block 2, so I couldn't kill him anyway this round. So I'm going to assign the 5 to move 1, block 2. I'm going to move back a space. He wallops me with his new extender flail for 2 points of damage, but I block it. Block the harm. I'm being cocky because I know that thanks to my boots, even if I don't roll any move, I can still get back into melee range with him. But I think he's flagging. I think we've got him. I think we've... Okay, yeah, okay. He's going to move 3 spaces and inflict 3 harm on me. I cannot block 3 harm. I'll block 3 harm. So he moves to there. And he's going to do me 3 harm. The only hope I can do now is an exciting... Yeah, okay. Huh. 3 in 1. I can't get far enough away from him to stop him. I've only got 1 hit point left. So I'm just going to check. Ooh, wrong one. I'm just going to check the rules again. Combat rules. Engraved enemies resolve the rest of the round at the same time. Any harm is calculated as well as harm from enemy action sets. You deal harm with any weapons. You allocate all the harm. Deal their harm to the engraved. Enemies still deal their harm to the engraved even if they're killed. So, I'm going to... I'm going to sum my stuff to 4. I'm going to move into the adjacent space. I'm going to do him 2 points of harm, killing him. And he's going to do me 3 points of harm, killing me. However, okay. We have killed each other simultaneously. So I'm just going to pop back to where the rules on fight are. Some enemies are unique and are labelled as such. Unique enemies do not come back whenever you die or rest at a sigil. Their deaths are permanent. Unique enemies that are listed at multiple points don't appear anymore if they've been killed. So, I reckon that means that even though I have died, I only had a 4. Oh, he doesn't block. Yeah. 6 was charge up to me and batter me to death. So I'm just going to check 0.7. So fight. So my question is, I guess, and the rules don't really cover it, what am I going to do with the Sun-Scorched Ring? Because this was a unique fight. And I'll mark that out. I did defeat him. What do you think? Should I grab the ring before I stagger and fall backwards off the cliff into the water below, the two of us trapped together in some pseudo-erotic embrace? Yeah. Oh, so Bin thinks I should come all the way back here to get the key? Yeah, okay. That seems reasonable. I'm comfortable with that as a suggestion. So let me just have a quick check. We did a fight at Area 3. Which has, oh God, it's the tree. But that's fine. We don't need to worry about the tree. The tree fight has reset because it's not a unique encounter, but there's nothing there that I want. So what do? We delete the Lost Knight. We put me back to location 1. We refill my health to its full, oh God, 8. Thanks to the sacrifice we made to the murder tree. We don't reset the realm clock. I didn't complete the fight. Did I complete the fight? That's a good question. Does that count as completing the fight, I wonder? I haven't picked the key. I haven't picked the ring up. I'm going to go back there. Yeah, okay, fine. I completed the fight. Damn you all. So we are now... It is now noon by the time I arrive back at the Grim Coast. I have died. And so now we have to roll a d6 to see what bad thing happens.
Bants or bullying, bants or bullying. We're playing a game called Bants or bullying, bants or bullying, bants or bullying. It's rarely bants, it's usually bullying.